child in Valorant has heard the tale before about the cursed mummy boy who felt his heart no more. So sad and lorn, the helpless lad, 𝗬𝗵 was his name. He ventured out to find a friend and learn about his bane. For many years, young 𝗬𝗵 traveled through the lands, determined to make friends if only they would understand. But even when 𝗬𝗵 stood upon the ledge of home, his hope would disappoint him and he would remain alone. But then the curse began to whisper in his ear and would confirm what was 𝗬𝗵's biggest fear. It pledged that never shall someone become his friend. It pledged that he shall be alone until his end. The sorrow and despair became too much to bear. The moment when 𝗬𝗵 realized what he had done, too late it was for him, for them, the evil curse had won. The anger and the anguish overwhelmed his fragile soul and caused a wicked tantrum that he never could control.
G'day, everybody. Welcome to another night of VCS action. We've got some very good matches here for you today, including our match of the week. But we'll get to that later. My name is Everyday. With me is Yulwei and Vinnie. How are we tonight, boys?
Yeah, not too bad.
I'm excited. Last day of the week. It's going way too fast. We already have our 6th day of the split, but what can I say? It's exciting times. Up is down in VCS.
It is. So let's have a bit of a talk about the week so far, because it has been a weird one. What was your best match so far? What was your biggest surprise? Vinnie, do you want to get us started on that one?
So the biggest surprise of the week was probably the 𝗀𝗵 vs% series.
Yeah.
Because after the first day, we thought, okay, percent, maybe it's really just Flash were just really bad. They got rolled by Buffalo. 𝗀𝗵 will probably do the same. And then all of a sudden, we see 𝗕𝗂𝘀𝗵 coming out. We see 𝗪𝗓𝗺, and just 𝗀𝗵 gets 2-0'd.
Yeah.
And so I've uncovered that there is only one surefire way to make predictions, and that is a gold coin.
I think tossing coins is definitely. Tossing coins is definitely the way to go. Or I'm tempted to get a printout of the schedule and just let Rakan run around, and wherever he shits is who's going to win.
It's probably better at this point.
It's probably better than my predictions, considering I currently have 2 points from this week.
Oof.
Yeah, it's not going well. And I think I got 3 last week.
I really liked 𝗬𝗀𝗺𝗺𝗺's against percent the first day, especially now in hindsight where we saw percent beating 𝗀𝗵. That means even more for 𝗬𝗀𝗺𝗺, who have played today again. And I'm still quite hyped about this team. They are super exciting to me. They have one of the best players in the league. And they looked incredible against percent. So back on form, back on track. And if they can win today, which I definitely expect, they are also joining the 2-1 club.
That they are. So let's talk about the teams that haven't played so far yet this week. Flash is coming up in our first series. They're playing against the Buffalo. And then we have Cerberus and EVOS. What are we expecting out of the 3 teams that haven't played so far? What are you looking for them to be doing or improving on?
So they have had a big break, right? A long break from week 1 to week 2. So they had a lot to work on, especially Flash and EVOS. Not so much Cerberus, of course. So after this long a break, it's always hard to predict what form they will come in with. But Flash, I would really like to see them focus on their early game, because that is where they looked strong. I want to see them pick some 𝗀𝗵-like compositions where they go hard in the early game and try to snowball the game. Because right now their late game and mid game and late game is garbage. It's really bad. It's the worst in the league, in my opinion. So try to get maybe cheese some wins with early game strategies, and then work on your mid and late game later on in the split, because I don't think it's fixable this early on.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think so.
I mean, as mentioned, Cerberus doesn't really have to do too much. Maybe just a bit more laning strength, because they did have a couple where they sort of fell behind early and then had to rely on that macro to overcome that gold disadvantage. But Flash first of all needs to settle on a roster. I mean, I think we've seen that 𝗁𝗁𝗁 is going to be it.
It's very obvious
𝗁𝗁𝗁's definitely
what
going
that roster should be.
You think, but it seems like they're still not decided on the jungle position, and I think there's probably more going on behind the scenes we don't know about.
Yeah, I was about to say that there must be something behind the scenes. Because look, I know people in our community. Our community is super hot on Ego. I don't really know why. I think it's just because he was a big solo queue player, but so was Pun, and he went 0-6 in one of his only games that he played last split. So I don't think solo queue is a good enough measure. I just still don't think he's stage ready. Yejin has looked pretty bad, I'll give you that. He hasn't looked great. He's definitely
everyone has on Flash.
Yeah, but the whole team has. And I think part of the reason is that Yijin has suddenly got this bloody 17-year-old taking his spot. I'd be bloody thrown off.
I actually think the biggest problem for Flash is that their bot lane and top lane are non-factors. It's not like 𝗧𝗲𝗀 and 𝗵𝗵 are playing super badly. They are just not doing anything. 𝗧𝗧𝗀 actually has the highest farming stats in the league, which is kind of surprising in an 0-4 team. He's at 9.6, I think, CS per minute, which is very high.
Yep.
But he's not doing anything with those farm stats. He's not putting his goals to work, and he's most of the time he's just running away from his team getting caught. And yeah, I mean, that's not good enough. I need to see a better laning phase from bot lane. These two players are supposed to be number 1 and number 2 in support and ADC position, and they just can't go even in lane only. They need to be able to win lanes.
And yeah, absolutely. You see there in the kill participation, Pallet and Slater are 7th and 8th in. So meaning they are at the bottom. They're meant to be one of the best bot lanes in the world, and they're not getting involved at all. And it's absolutely not good enough, especially when you're expecting them to be the main stars, main carriers of the team, while Flash has the top lane situation with Stark going on. Yeah. So without them performing, Flash can't do much. It really seems.
Yeah, they can't do anything really.
There's hope that they will be better today. I think 𝗍𝗧 we will touch on a lot for the match of the week in a little bit of time after the first series. But let's go to a champion we are all very interested in.
Yep,
the champion that has been.
Don't you worry. We want to talk about a top lane powerhouse that has definitely required some thought in how to be dealt with. It's Wukong. So why don't you guys run me through what this pick is doing and how we can actually deal with it?
All right, so the Wukong, very high presence, very high win rate, and it's because he does nearly everything you want a top laner to do. The only thing he doesn't do is instantly win the lane, because his 1-6 is a little bit rough, but once he hits 6, once he gets that double cyclone, he can bully just about everyone and all in just about anyone. So, and then he, of course, brings massive team fighting prowess. So it's sort of a case of, how do you stop this thing? How do you stop the monkey in the top lane? And there's been a couple of questions. There's been a couple of proposed answers. We've seen Malphite, we've seen Jax. Those have worked quite well. We've seen a bit of 𝗁𝗲𝗺 in the VCS. And worldwide, we've seen some other counters as I unplugged my earphones.
Oh, good job.
Including 𝗓𝗄𝗻. We've seen Gangplank in the LEC. We've seen a game of Sion. So there's a lot. There are a lot of potential answers, but we haven't quite figured out what the one is.
And looking at the champions, there's like 2 different categories of counters. The one is just straight up beating him in lane, which is all the AP champs, and most notably 𝗧𝗏𝗁, and of course then also Hecarim with Ignite Teleport. 𝗏 really likes to run that, FPX 𝗏. 𝗁𝗲𝗺, we haven't really seen the matchup enough to know that much about it, but it seems like 𝗁𝗏𝗺 just wins all ins. And then there's the late game scaling team fight, or the late game scaling champs. One would be Jax. We saw that yesterday in the VCS. It was actually the first time I saw that. And then immediately afterwards saw it in EU and in China as well. So Jax definitely has been coming up as a counter pick as well. It's more focused on the mid and late game because he doesn't really do much in lane against Wukong, in my opinion. So it's much more about scaling into side lane, and then Wukong can't fight him anymore. And Malphite is the complete opposite, where Wukong can't do anything against Malphite in lane. And Malphite is fine to just farm it out, neutralize the Wukong, and be stronger in team fights. We saw that yesterday. 𝗏𝗏 played very, very mean Malphite, where he got the MVP from us as well. And he just wrecked all the team fights, got triple 4-man knockups. Very nice game for Malphite. So it's quite risky to pick the Wukong early. But in the very first series we have today, we have the Wukong King, which is, of course, Saigon Buffalo's Hasmid. 3-0 on the champ. He has looked incredible. And I'm very, very interested to see if Flash and Stark want to come up with a counter or just ban away the Wukong because it's just too strong in the hands of 𝗧𝗲𝗺.
Yeah, well, 𝗧𝗲𝗺 requires some bans, I think. He has been absolutely smurfing on not just the Wukong, just on top lane in general.
Yeah.
He's, at the moment, he's looking like our at least second best top laner. Oops, sorry. With a very strong argument for best. It's between him and 𝗬𝗂𝗧𝗲, let's be totally honest. And at the moment, 𝗧𝗲𝗺, I think there's an argument that he's been better than 𝗬𝗂𝗧𝗏, but maybe not quite there.
Yeah,
And today he has another day to prove that. If he outperforms Stark again, which is quite likely looking at the game so far, you really have to take him into consideration, which isn't something we would have said a year ago every day. I remember us flaming him every single game. He was
when we would talk about 𝗲𝗏 and how he would lose his team every game. How our boy has grown up. He's grown up into a big, strong 𝗧𝗲𝗺, where now he is pulling his team, kicking and screaming over the line. That's not fair.
That's not fair.
Buffalo have been playing pretty well. He's had a couple of games where he's had to try and 1v9. But he is actually, they're playing okay. Regardless, we will have to see how they play in their first matchup. We'll be going to just a very short little break, but we'll be back with Champion Select. Don't go anywhere, guys. We're just as excited as you to see some League of Legends action. We'll be back very, very soon. See you then. G'day everybody, we're back and we have champion select. It's Team Flash taking on the 𝗧𝗲𝗵. Center Pantheon set Syndra removed. A lot of S's gone. But break it down for me, boys. What are we expecting to see banned and what are we expecting to see picked?
There's the Wukong.
There's the Wukong. We talked about him. He is too scary for 𝗧𝗲𝗵, especially red side. I feel like that's the fair ban to ban away, so you can't be counterpicked. So you can't be coming in last, so you can't counterpick him. So it makes a lot of sense to ban him. Varus is open. Ezreal is open.
Ooh, Varus
is open.
Everything's open in the AD carry position.
Yeah, apparently.
So,
Seen some Karma first pick. 𝗕𝗂𝗧 as well.
What?
We forgot about her. Holy moly. Everything is open.
Varus is
Just
open.
don't ban.
You don't pick 𝗕𝗂𝗧 over Varus, for sure.
Are they throwing down that Style can't play Varus?
Varus
But we've
should
seen him
fit
on Varus.
Style, though. Yeah, and it should fit him as well. He's a good Ashe player, so this should actually be his wheelhouse.
He wasn't admittedly the Varus wasn't a huge factor in the game that he had it, but
Absolutely not.
he did play the Varus.
He played attack speed Varus as well. And honestly, after watching LEC yesterday, I think like attack speed Varus is... Wow.
What?
Varus is getting through draft.
And
I guess... okay.
I guess you're too scared to play it into dive, because 𝗕𝗂𝗧 already enables a very strong dive threat, so I feel they didn't want to go Varus Tahm Kench or something to hamstring themselves in bot lane too much, so I can understand it. Also like to see Style on the hyper carry, because so far he hasn't really looked too great. I feel like he's the worst player on the team so far. It's good to see him branch out a little bit and try to go for a hyper carry.
Which is why I think we've seen these Senna bans coming through, because the Senna he's looked pretty solid on, but
makes sense, yeah.
Other than these Senna and the hyper carries, he's been a little bit just sort of along for the ride on the side of Buffalo. Apart from the one game against OPG where he was a actual liability on the 𝗧𝗲𝗺.
Yeah. Yeah, he hasn't been super bad, but he has also not done much. So yeah, I want to see more from him.
So just something to point out, we do have the 𝗃𝗃 duo in. That's something to watch. Apparently 𝗏𝗏 is not always going to play when 𝗃𝗃 plays anymore, which, I mean, I think this is the second best 5 for Flash. I think 𝗏𝗃 is very clearly better than 𝗏𝗏, while there's a bit more grey area with 𝗃𝗃 and Yijin.
We saw this iteration once before.
We have, yes. But
in their
continue, I just wanted to point it out.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So far, the 𝗧𝗲𝗵 draft is a little short-ranged, I'd say. So they either need more dive or they... honestly, the enemy team composition is pretty short-ranged as well. So you can honestly just brawl, probably a short-range brawl, and then Grace actually becomes a very strong champion. So a little bit of assistance for Grace wouldn't be super bad. I don't want to see Froggy on Karma, I have to say. I think Froggy has been very impressive on the roaming champs, and already respect ban on the TF, showing here for Flash that they also respect Froggy's potential.
Yeah, and I actually quite like the Graves pick here, having seen it after you see the Trundle, because it sort of plays kind of like Kindred, in the sense that it's you can just dash up past the pillar and play around.
It's a good matchup.
And you get that armor build up in your passive, so Trundle has a bit of a harder time dealing with you, especially before he has his ult. And we see another respect ban towards 𝗧𝗲𝗵 in the Akali.
And another roaming mid laner. A very good blind pick as well. You can basically play Lissandra into everything, so it makes a lot of sense. Also, 𝗏𝗏 is not the player to exploit early laning phase too much. I feel like this is a solid pick for Froggy. Might struggle slightly into Orianna when it comes to range, because she just can't really impact Orianna too much, but she doesn't really have to. She can go to bot lane and dive there. Yeah. So I like this 2v2. In my opinion, there's a lot to set up for Melio. There's a lot of CC, a lot of early damage and tankiness from Lissandra, so I want to see 2v2 action in mid jungle for 𝗧𝗲𝗵 this game.
See the Renekton picked as
That's just a tier list pick. You have to go blind.
Yeah.
Good top liner.
Considered Bjorn. So
also very hard to counter. So it's probably wise choice.
I think a strong lane. I think a strong lane like Renekton makes a lot of sense. You're gonna have bot lane trio. You could have a situation where you actually have
open.
Pretty good trio of Wolf.
The bear is open.
And so is 𝗧𝗲𝗺𝗺
Risky.
I was about to say, do we see something like the Quinn? And, you know, I guess if you want to build on-hit cannon, that kind of fills a similar niche, similar situation, but...
Unlikely. 𝗧𝗲𝗺 is AP.
I
𝗧𝗲𝗺
imagine it'll be AP.
Yeah. And this matchup is not that great for cannon anymore. I've actually heard a lot of players say this is Renekton favorite, even though it's ranged into melee into ranged. Renekton definitely has his windows in this matchup, so 𝗧𝗲𝗺 needs to once again show us how great he is on this matchup. Of course, you can, if you can run around Renekton and just harass him from far, you can get up to a great lead, but it's not the easiest one.
It's also not just a lane counter pick, right? If he was just going for the lane counter pick, he would have picked Quinn.
Yeah, that's a good one. Or
cannon is much... Cannon, yeah, or 𝗏𝗏𝗺. Cannon is... But particularly Quinn, I think 𝗧𝗲𝗺 has played that. I think he's going for the cannon because it's a fine lane. It might be slightly Renekton favored. I think 𝗧𝗲𝗺 is so much better than Stark that it's probably even. I don't think it is Renekton favored in these two players. Not to say Stark's bad. I just think 𝗧𝗲𝗺's really, really good. But that slicing Maelstrom to protect style against a very short range comp. What has there's a certain analyst, and he works in the 𝗕𝘂𝗂𝗵. A lot of people know about him, and he talks about 𝗕𝗂𝗺 quite a lot. His name's LS, and he gets very upset when people pick short-range comps against 𝗕𝗂𝗺. And I think he might be a little bit upset with Team Flash right now.
That said, though, he also is a very big advocate of champs that can change terrain, and one of the best at that is Orianna, because she can control terrain with her ball. So he actually says one of 𝗕𝗂𝗺's biggest counters are terrain champs or control champs. So they have Trundle and Orianna at least. Even though it's a short-range comp, it might still work insta-style. I actually like both compositions, but Vinnie, maybe you want to go first.
Yeah, you know how it is.
I think with the top lane, I wanted to touch on that it should go 𝗧𝗲𝗺 unless Ego can get a good gank to let Stark get on top of him, in which case the all lane is massive. But overall, I think the Buffalo's comp really does suit their style, and I'm still not convinced by Flash, so I don't think comps matter actually all that much.
All right, so Buffalo win, according to Vinnie. We'll talk to you again after the game, mate. Have a good one. Enjoy watching and listening to the smooth, silky tones of Yulwei and whatever I put out. And let's get into this game. Here we go. What do we think of this one, Yulwei? Where are the focuses going to be? What has you excited about these matchups?
I really like both compositions for both teams. I agree with Vinnie that I would favor Saigon Buffalo here just because of what we've seen so far. But I want to point out this is a very easy to execute composition for Flash. And that is very good to go back to. So far, Flash has actually executed on an individual level fine. They are not... It's very interesting. Oh, we might have a little bit of a brawl. No, this shouldn't amount to much.
A bit of a trade. This is just a 𝗪𝗺 trade, but... It's just
maybe a little bit too deep. So the two projected best teams, EVOS and Flash, both went 0-2, but both have very different looks. Flash looked okay in early game and laning phase, and looked horrible in late game, mid game macro and team fights. And EVOS looked okay in fights, but looked horrible individually in execution based things. So it's a very different look. So I feel like this is a good comp for Flash, where they can just play with their mechanics. And there isn't much you have to analyze about your team composition. There's one way you have to go. Everyone goes at the same time, and then you win. So I really like this composition for Flash. And if they are to turn it around this week, I think this is a very good start for them.
Yeah, I think this is the kind of composition that Flash wants to be picking when they've had a very rough week one and they need to bounce back. I think you're very right. There is not a lot of thinking. This is what people in other communities might call a bit of an unga bunga comp. And so simple, even a caveman can do it.
Yeah, that's good to see. Oh, 𝗧𝗲𝗺 missing the cannon there. Ugh, too much zoning. That happens quite a bit when you play ranged into melee. You always have to balance Harris and actually taking the creeps. So already we see 𝗧𝗲𝗺 missing a few of those, and 𝗦𝗶𝗺 trying to invest early time, but a good ward spotting him. So Stark stays safe. 𝗦𝗶𝗺 is now complete topside control, and they are basically trading side in jungle, while 𝗬𝗲𝗺𝗺's bot lane is under turret. So almost ungankable, which means Ego will go back to farming. And so far, jungle will not really do anything early on, which is actually in favor of Ego, in my opinion, because he is almost even in CS, which is not very... Oh, will we actually see a dive? 𝗬𝗂𝗺 coming up?
I think we will. 𝗬𝗂𝗺's on the way.
Double teleport though.
Landing. They're going to get a lot of damage onto 𝗵𝗺. They might have to call this one off. No, Hin goes low. This has to be first blood. And it is. And the teleport was cancelled, I think. Yeah.
Froggy arrived.
Yes, no, he did. I'm right. I'm completely wrong. Froggy did arrive, but it didn't matter because Hin was already dead. And the first blood goes to Flash.
Great execution. They didn't even have to use a flash other than Ego's flash, so no bot lane had to flash there. Looked quite dicey. I thought 𝗵𝗺 had killed himself there, but knew his range, his tank range, you could say. So very nicely done. Early execution of this play. This is a scrim play. This is something they've done time and time again, so they definitely knew how to do this, and that's very good to see.
Absolutely, it is.
First kill also over to 𝗧𝗧𝗺. And we had some complaints about 𝗧𝗧𝗺 not doing anything with all his CS, so he now really has to step up this game and carry his team to a victory, to the first one of the season.
Yeah, absolutely he does. 𝗂𝗧𝗺 is a good champion to do it on as well. Comes back to lane with those tier 2 attack speed boots. That is a huge power spike for 𝗂𝗧𝗺. Get those hops going.
Yeah, now when...
under threat, Froggy going in, but I don't think 𝗦𝗶𝗺 can get close.
Oh, wow, he actually got hard out-traded there.
He did. He got smacked.
This matchup is not easy for Lissandra. She doesn't really want to be in lane. She wants to leave lane as much as possible, which fits Froggy's playstyle. So far, he's very much please get me out of lane player. And he's done a great job doing so. Yesterday, he played the Neeko and was super impressive on his ultimates. So... But the early advantage definitely over to Flash. They also got the priority in bot lane and mid lane, so a free first dragon at 5 minutes is all going Flash's way. But we have to take into consideration, this has happened before. Flash's early games have been okay. The most important part is when minute 20 comes around and Flash has no idea how to play team fights. So cautiously optimistic so far, but we have to wait and see more.
Yeah, absolutely. This was not unexpected. The Buffalo's early game hasn't been why we're so excited about them, and Flash's early game hasn't been why we're concerned about them. So I'm not writing home yet about Flash's miraculous improvement, but it is definitely still good to see them maintain the good early game. So Buffalo go for a bit of lane positioning. Look at that. They're thinking. They've got the braid switched on in the bot lane. You love to see it.
They were holding the wave there to not let it push back as much. The problem is, Star right now is sitting on Infernum, and Infernum is auto-pushing all the time. So you want to get rid of Infernum here because you want to get your red-white combination going.
Hang on. There's a bit of a 2v2 as the blue buff has to go over to 𝗦𝗶𝗺, so they can't hand it off to the mid laner. Not ideal there.
Yep, good invade. Using the bot lane pressure to let it apply other lanes or go over to other lanes as well. So now Orianna should sit on a sizable control advantage when it comes to minion waves because of the blue buff advantage. The next blue buff will go over to her, most likely. On the other side, though, 𝗦𝗶𝗺's got a lot of extra experience and is now ahead in farm. So if it comes to a 2v2 fight in the mid and jungle positions, there might be an advantage for SGB. So it's not actually that big of a deal. And if 𝗦𝗶𝗺 can steal this
wants revenge. Yeah, he wants revenge for not being able to give his mid laner.
Smite
they
available.
Might be able to deny. Yeah, but they mirror the deny. Neither mid laner get the blue buff, so it's actually even Stevens. 𝗬𝗺𝗺 and Froggy are both saying, Why must we pay for the sins of our youngler? It's not fair.
And now everyone is wishing they could play with Shadow as well, with the Ivern, because if Ivern steals a buff, the buff is still there for your mid lane. So your mid lane is very happy. 𝗕𝗂𝗧 had the smite and level advantage, so he should have actually gotten that one. A little bit of a misexecution there, misreading.
Yeah, it was coming in and out of the bush. It was not super
that's fair.
easy.
It was not very easy, and he at least denied the buff, of course, to the mid laner. Stark is struggling up here, and we talked about this matchup being slightly Renekton favored, at least from what most pro players are saying.
Yeah, I think there is a very big skill difference, though.
There is a skill difference, especially when it comes to laning. So, so far, 𝗧𝗲𝗺 showing...
and look what that top lane Prio has given the Buffalo. Prio on the Rift Herald. But it's a 5v5 looking like it's on the way. Stark has come back in on full health.
He's a bit on vision,
though. Herald is going low. He's popped the Dominus. It's down to 700 health. It's taken by Flash. Good job. Good smite, Ego. And they pick up the Rift Herald. Their early game continues to look good. If you're a Flash fan, you just need them to actually keep it going into the mid game.
Now they can immediately get some platings here, because everyone went top lane or back to base from SGB. So this should be 3 platings, maybe even 4 going over to Flash. Very good acceleration play. And I really don't like what 𝗙𝗲𝗺 did there. Either commit to the team fight or pull away from the objective. If you lose this objective, as you can see, it's going to cost you a lot. And even if you win, you are behind in tempo on the map, because the enemy team gets better map positioning. Risky steal there for Ego. That was very overzealous. Gets away, but has to flash. But this has cost them a lot. 1k gold now down compared to 𝗙𝗲𝗺. And that was basically just a macro mistake for Saigon. Because they could have just backed away or tried to teamfight. They had Flash ultimate available for 𝗧𝗲𝗺. So definitely an opportunity to look for a teamfight there. Early cannon doesn't really do much damage, but you can still follow up with a lot of CC. Froggy cannon combo with early 𝗕𝗂𝗧 damage. Sounds deadly to me.
Yeah, for sure it does. They just didn't really pull the trigger. It didn't look like the Buffalo had a united idea of how they wanted to approach that Rift Herald. Did they just want to go for the 50-50 or probably take a team fight? They're very much indecisive, and that has been a buzzword of the VCS so far this split. Decisiveness has been how you win. Every team that's been winning, we've been saying that they're ultra decisive. It's a very, very good thing.
Yep, for sure. A little bit disappointing, and especially in the jungle matchup.
Sorry to cut you off, but I want to let you make your point, but you have to pick the Rift first.
It's Ocean. It's going to be Ocean today.
Now continue going back to what people actually care about. Go ahead.
So I'm a little bit disappointed with 𝗕𝗂𝗧. He was off to a great start, had a level advantage, but then kind of just yielded a lot of his advantage, and now Ego is in a better position. He's up in CS against Graves. That should never happen as Trundle. 𝗕𝗂𝗧 hasn't really done much, and now there's a risk of falling off as Graves. I know people talk about Graves as a scaling jungler. I really haven't seen him scale too well. This game he might scale a little bit better because he actually has targets to hit that aren't full tanks. But so far 𝗕𝗂𝗧 he's even a level down now, and he can't win this fight, I think. Oh, maybe he can.
No, he doesn't win the fight when that happens, though. But Froggy goes in, and Froggy says, "I'm coming! I'll be your hero!" And 𝗕𝗂𝗧 says, "You'll be my sacrifice."
Froggy, no!
Ooh, but down in the bot lane, they've seen the support roam, and they're going in on Slater, and he tries to hop, but he cannot be a good enough bunny rabbit.
Yep, he can't hop over 200 light years. That is too far a distance, so that's unfortunate for him. One nice kill back to Style, and that's what we wanted to see. More from Style, but in the end, still overall a very big map advantage for Flash, who also break the mid outer turret, which is always a big objective, not just in terms of gold, but also in map pressure. Now Grace really has to be super careful. We saw how squishy he was in the last fight, even though Grace typically is quite a strong champion in 1v1 brawls, so really not the greatest start. 𝗙𝗲𝗺 looking a little bit lost on the map, and even though there's a nice advantage in the top lane, might not be enough.
So we're going to get a bit of a replay. It was just the 𝗲𝗺𝗵 into the 𝗕𝗂𝗧 ult.
Very good. Actually, I have to praise them for the coordination. They knew stun into grab into lockdown. Very good turret aggro juggling as well, because 𝗙𝗪𝘀 hit his gravitum and then ran out of turret aggro to let his support head aftershock. So that's exactly how you have to approach the dive. Diving 𝗙𝗪𝘀 is always a little bit scary, but they made it work, and now 𝗧𝗲 with a kill and another plating to his name.
Yep. And they've got massive priority as there has been the swap called. Stark down here, very upset about having to face off against the Buffalo bot lane.
Let's go back to 𝗬𝗀, because so far we've seen him 2 or 3 games. I think 2 games.
3, I think. It's 3 because he's played one. He's played 1 with 𝗨 and 2 with 𝗏𝗃.
Yep, that's a good point. So he has actually been the main jungler for Flash, and consistently has been able to get early game advantages, which is kind of the trait of the solo queue prodigy jungler, right? He knows how to play early games. Early games are quite similar to solo queue, apart from the 8-minute Herald swap maybe. But Flash has looked lost whenever it came to team fight with 𝗬𝗀. So has he improved on that front? They had 1 week to scrim, so maybe Stark has given him some advice. First turret, actually, the second turret, of course. Mid lane was the first turret, but still, solo turret plates over to 𝗧𝗲, and 𝗧𝗲 is going to be the main carry for Saigon Buffalo this game.
That's what's scaring me, is Flash is definitely in a very solid position here. And yes, you were talking about how they do have the Trundle and the Orianna who make 𝗙𝗪𝘀's life hard, which is true. But it is still a short-range comp against 𝗙𝗪𝘀, who just got solo plating and a tower. I'm a little bit worried about how much they're ignoring the 𝗙𝗪𝘀. He's behind the enemy ADC, but he's pretty far ahead of the curve for most people's gold, except for 𝗏𝗏, who admittedly is absolutely smurfing in the mid lane. He's smashing.
Even behind 𝗬𝗏 in gold, which is quite surprising. But of course, even gold, 𝗙𝗪𝘀 against 𝗪𝗪𝐿 always favor 𝗙𝗪𝘀. He does so much more with gold. So I want to look at how Flash can accelerate this game more, because we wanted to see more early game action. Mid lane turret is already broken. Top lane is still very healthy, so bot lane, of course, very healthy, so hard to push that one in. They have another Rifthold, but I don't really see the turret they can go for right now, and the game might just slow down a little bit, which is not something Flash wants. So I feel like they want to look for a big dive play, maybe try to combine Slater's ultimate with Palette and 𝗏𝗏 to get an instant kill on 𝗧𝗲. Want to see that interaction, because that's quite a nice build your Mel fight.
Build your own Mel fight. I just want to apologize. You may hear Rakan having a few beeps in the background. Normally he does go in a different room during cast, but he hurt his foot, so I want to be able to keep an eye on him.
Oh no.
So
get well soon, Rakan.
Yeah, everyone please Bible thumps for Rakan. He hurt his toe. He's okay, but let's get back into the game. I just want to apologize in case there is any noise in the background. Hopefully he's well behaved. As the dragon spawns, the dragons are split at the moment, but the Buffalo
is looking for the teleport.
Yeah, they're going for this one. 𝗏𝗲 has an opportunity to flank with the slicing Maelstrom. Oh, 𝗬𝗀 again!
No. Meliodas, you need to hit those. Once again, a level ahead, and he loses another smite battle. Man, Meliodas has been very useless this game, and even kind of a detriment to his team. Losing another objective where they had priorities, and now, 𝗏𝗲?
Oh, they're getting in a bit of trouble here. 𝗏𝗏 tanking the tower, slicing Maelstrom pop. The lantern is good, and now Stark is in a horrible position. And that's a kill picked up. Ooh, Hin coming in clutch. Froggy, I don't think he's fast enough. So it is a kill back, but the dragon to Flash.
This could have always been the turn in the game. If Saigon Buffalo was able to get kill and dragon, even with a gold disadvantage, this would have been advantageous map positioning or advantageous position in the game because of their scaling and their ADC being a much more hyper carry focused ADC. But let's see. This is just a steal. This is just Flash smite from 𝗬𝗀.
Level down as well.
Meliodas.
Come on, you've got to get in the rhythm.
That's the second time.
Feel the rhythm, feel the rhyme. Come on, Melly, it's smiting time.
I like that.
Thank you.
That's very nice.
I could be on the NALCS with those rap skills. I'm sorry, NA. It's not actually fun to bash them anymore. I think they did really well this week. Their production has stepped up. The games haven't, but their production has.
Yeah, fair enough. So, what are we looking at? Flash is down for 𝗧𝗲𝗺 and 𝗕𝗂𝗧 from the last, and Hin as well, of course, who came in very clutch with this Dark Passage to get 𝗧𝗲𝗺 out of there. So right now, 𝗬𝗏𝗺 doesn't really want to fight, and to be honest, there isn't really much on the map to fight for. Dragon is gone for 3 minutes, which shouldn't... It's a little bit early for 𝗬𝗏𝗺. The Dragon will be something to look out for, because Dragon is still before flashes for 𝗧𝗲𝗺 and Hin, and 𝗕𝗂𝗧 as well, are back up. If I timed that correctly, I hope so. I think so. So they need to stall the next Dragon for a little bit. Most likely due with using better vision and trying to set up better map positioning to stall for their flashes in the next fight. That's something to look out for. They're 2k gold behind, which doesn't really matter too much. Let's take a look at the items. 2 items. Oh, 𝗧𝗲𝗺. No, he's fine.
He's fine.
2 items built for 𝗬𝗂𝗺, but very defensive items, so he's lacking a little bit in the damage department. He's gone for GLP, so much more controlled Orianna, which I really don't like in this game. I feel like you have to go full damage, because your ADC is already a low damage ADC, and especially in the late game. So not my favorite Orianna build. Very safe, but might just lose to a 1v1 against 𝗧𝗏 later on. So right now, good group for Flash, and this should just be the turret.
Yep, there should be an inner tower. Flash continue to press their advantage, which is good to see. So far, they're making good macro decisions. We haven't seen the team fighting that was such an issue. It was Flash's team fighting that was really bad last week. Yep. They're just not team fighting at the moment. We only have 4 kills in 20 minutes in the VCS. Flash is just macroing.
Quite a slow game. But now they run into the problem of there's nothing for them to do on the map anymore. They are only 2k gold ahead, which is, of course, nice. The early game has looked great, and the zoning, especially for 𝗏𝗏 in the last turret push, looked quite well practiced and coordinated. So that's all of those things are good to see. But how can they close this game? They're only 2k gold ahead. They are still 2 dragons away from Seoul. And so far, they've actually lost dragon position most of the time. The last one was just a miracle steal. Very nicely. Done for their jungler, of course. But they have to make this game about objectives, because they can't break inhibitor lines without Baron. They are very short-ranged. Only 𝗏𝗏 can really hit turrets, and even he is only on 550, 25 range. I'm not sure. So they need objectives to close this out, and this should give 𝗬𝗏𝗺 enough time to farm items. Look at 𝗧𝗏, 2 items ready. 2 more items, and we get into 200-year territory. So it's not over. It's really not over yet. It's all looking great for Flash, but one team fight and it all swings over to 𝗬𝗏𝗺 again.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't rely on Ego just outsmarting 𝗕𝗂𝗧 at absolutely every encounter. Obviously, so far he has, but that's not a reliable game plan. You can't just have your setup being, that's okay, we'll just have bad positioning at every objective, but Ego will steal.
Indeed. There will be a time where he doesn't get the steal.
Exactly.
You have big numbers.
𝗬𝗏𝗺. Hook goes out. 𝗬𝗺 could be in some trouble. They're calling in the TP, but it's a Nautilus with Aftershock. Is Froggy going to arrive in time? It doesn't matter as Fate's call comes in. 𝗧𝗲𝗺 is zooming away, has the slicing maelstrom. There's a hook onto the 𝗨𝗏𝗺, but they don't follow up on it. They're just going to disengage. But it is the Infernal Drake on the map. This would put Flash on soul points.
Look at the flash timings. This is what I was talking about. You have to stall for the flash timings. And now 𝗧𝗲𝗺 and 𝗕𝗂𝗧 is back on Flash.
Dead. As Stark blows him up, Style deals a whole lot of damage with that Aphelios. He throws out the ult for a little bit more. Can't quite get the big spreads. Dragon being burst. Please don't lose it again. He doesn't. Ego went for it, but it wasn't enough. And here we go. The Flash team fight calls come in. And it's 2 free kills for the Buffalo.
This Style is getting 1v1 against
a lot of trouble, but there's a 𝗨𝗏𝗺. Yeah, the 𝗨𝗏𝗆 was absolutely huge there by Hin. 𝗧𝗲𝗺 has 𝗨𝗏𝗺 down on the side here, and he will get that one. And it's a bad call by Flash, and they get punished.
Now the game is swinging to the 𝗬𝗏𝗺 side. We have seen this time and time again. Flash's mid-game calls, especially with the Ego in the lineup. But honestly, even within the one game that Yijin played, it's a really big problem. And another big problem, Slater is not the better ADC. And once again, is not the better ADC on the map, which is something Flash relied on in the spring all the time. And so far, he hasn't been the better ADC in a single game he has played. Let's look at this again, and how Slater gets caught, and also how Hin carries the whole fight. Flash Flay, he gets the initiation. Now, a lot of time for 𝗏𝗏 to deal insane amounts of damage. Look at the HP bars. That's basically only Style hitting a few auto attacks on with the 𝗏𝗏, the strongest weapon, in my opinion, in team fights. Ego tries to go for the steal. Hin, man, that is not fair. Also, Style trying to go for a rookie. This was a little bit of a rookie mistake. That was, you shouldn't have done that. Safe once again by Hin. Yeah,
Hin did it again.
Hin with such an insane performance in that team fight. Wow. He is really stepping up this split. I've been super impressed with Hin. He was one of the lower rated supports on the last split, but honestly, support is quite a strong position right now in the VCS. And everyone is stepping up, and even Hin on the Thresh, absolutely smurfing.
Absolutely. Now, I do want to point out something that has been a constant problem for the Buffalo. I'm sorry, I completely lost my train of thought for a moment there, but it is 𝗏𝗺 CS. He's 70 CS down, Yulwei. Why is he 70 CS down?
It's 𝗏𝗺. To give him a little bit of leeway, he had a very hard matchup. He got caught when he had to defend his jungler.
70 CS.
Yeah, and then he gave a lot of side lane CS to 𝗏𝗏, who's also 50 CS ahead. So you can maybe say it's a 50 CS deficit, because a little bit of that is still you can make excuses for that. Also low econ mid laner. So, but yeah, it's still a problem. 𝗏𝗏 when he can't roam. Oh no.
Here come the boys. They're on to Style. They want to try and get him. There's a shockwave. This 𝗏𝗏𝗺𝗪 is taking a lot of damage, and he goes down. It's all on 𝗏𝗏𝗪 to do the damage now. 𝗧𝗲𝗺 here has a slicing maelstrom, pulls the trigger, and here he goes. 𝗕𝗂𝗺𝗆, and he's doing a very good job on that Pikachu. He's got one back. It's a 1-for-1 jungler for AD. Flash still has the health bars though, so the Buffalo need to get out of there. Hin, the MVP, has gone down. 𝗏𝗏𝗺𝗪 wants to go back in. That's a decision. I don't know if it was a good one. And he goes down, and the Flash turn it around once more.
They lose their jungler, so no Baron can ensue. So even though they win the fight,
I think they disagree.
Oh, this is so risky, Flash. I'm not sure you should do this. Yeah, but the 𝗏𝗏𝗺 against Smite is not a winning fight anymore. With the latest 𝗏𝗏𝗺 changes, she really doesn't do that much damage to Baron anymore. There's the blast cone. 𝗏𝗏𝗺 has E as well.
Does he have vision though? He can't get vision at the moment.
Right now.
He has no control wards. He's going to walk around. Can he get close enough? They're really low. Collateral damage takes them low, but Slater gets the rend, and that is a free Baron with no jungler. 𝗏𝗏𝗪𝗪. You should have gone Flash Ignite, done a bloody LPL this game.
Yeah, he should unbind his smite key. Yeah, he landed the last smite on the dragon, but yeah, that's a very good call for maybe not a good call, but a very good result for Flash. Let's say that. I still think the call was kind of. It was very risky. Could have lost them the game as well. You saw the HP bars. 𝗏𝗏𝗪𝗪 could have used the blast cone, but of course no vision whatsoever to spot the Baron HP. Let's look at this. Very good engage, very decisive for Flash to go on the flashless style. You have to go back to the last team fight where he wasted his flash against the Renekton in a very unnecessary play where he tried to go for one kill they didn't need to win the fight. So this comes back to haunt them. Might actually even cost them the game if the Baron can lead to anything more. And now they just don't have the damage. 𝗏𝗏𝗪𝗪 is full HP, but he's Graves, so he doesn't deal damage. Unfortunate.
For sure. And this is something we've seen throughout the last few splits as this replay wraps up. 𝗏𝗏𝗺𝗪 wanted to be the hero, but they're still holding out. But
he's trying too hard. He's trying a little bit too hard.
Something we have had to see throughout 𝗏𝗏𝗪𝗪's career is whether he's going to be 𝗏𝗏𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 Not the best performance on this Graves.
Look at the weapons. Styles' weapons are incredible for team fights.
Very true. Probably the best team fight setup. So maybe Graviton if you like.
It depends on the situation, but I think in terms of pure damage output, for sure. Ego is very far away. We'll flash away.
They just get the Drake.
Again.
They just get the Drake, and they're going to go on to Ego. He moves to reposition near his pillar. He's a tanky boy. I don't know if he's tanky enough. And he just goes down for free. 𝗧𝗧 just ran. He didn't want the fight. Now they're going to turn it around. Froggy, come on, son. You don't need to be there. He gets away to the E. Look at the mid lane, though. Stark is carving an inhibitor up. They're just trying to delay recalls. That's going to be an inhib. And can he get anything more? No, he's going to back off. But it's... Oh, no, he's not. He's going for Nexus Towers. Oh, they're TPing in. Whoa. They're going for a team fight while their base is dying.
And Stark finished the game? Oh, Stark is porting back? What is going on? It's SGB. You need to...
Why did Froggy TP? Why did Froggy just TP? Froggy has no idea. Hin is dead. And that was one of the worst calls I've ever seen, Froggy.
What was that?
That was shocking. Froggy is looking foggy. Actually. As comes in, does Stark. There's a good bit of stunning there by 𝗬𝗲𝗺, and 𝗕𝗂𝗧 will get away. 𝗏𝗏's taking a lot of damage. I don't think they have the follow-up CC. The tower is almost out. Can we get anything more? No. I don't think he can get close enough.
He had flash ult
my boy. That was one of the worst passages of play I've ever seen.
That's quite ridiculous.
Froggy... Did Froggy not realize Stark was in the base? He just had to clear the wave.
So 𝗧𝗲 recalled, right? So 𝗧𝗲 wanted to defend, and then I guess the call came in that 𝗧𝗲 can't solely defend against Renekton, so someone else had to go as well. But Froggy wanted to TP already, so disconnection between the two, between all of Zygon and Buffalo. I'm not quite sure. I feel like
the call was that Froggy had gone back, which he had, and then Froggy, in his mind, was like, no, I went back to get the teleport speed boost. But everyone else on his team was like, no, Froggy, you went back to save the base.
looked pretty bad for sure. There is actually one saving grace for Zygon Buffalo. It's only mid lane inhibitor, so it's very easy to just farm this wave and get a lot of gold on your already 300 CS Aphelios, and you're 1 point away from from Infernal Soul. So even though that was a very bad passage of play, I agree, it might still be enough to win Zygon Buffalo the game, because Infernal Drake with 200 years behind it, very, very scary.
It's true. It is 200 years of Inferno. As an Australian, I can tell you that's not a lot of fun.
I know.
Thanks, Rakan. He called me out for that.
Agrees.
But it is another tower being picked up for Flash. They're pushing towards...
No Baron anymore.
Inhib, yep. But they are just going to hit the tower. Can they find an engage? The problem with Froggy being this far behind is it really neuters the engage by Buffalo. They are not scared of this 𝗬𝗲.
Yeah, she doesn't really deal much damage. She's just there to CC and tank a little bit with her Aftershock. 𝗬𝗲 does what happened in bot lane?
What? Oh, what did happen in bot lane? 𝗬𝗲 just killed Stark.
Yeah, and didn't even have Flash.
Okay.
𝗬𝗲 does not want to lose the Flash. Yeah, he does not want to lose this game, so he's doing... And this is really, really bad for Flash's map positioning now. 1 minute on the next Infernal Dragon. Baron will be up.
You called me out for not being fair in our pregame when I said 𝗬𝗲 has to drag this team kicking and screaming. But I think Froggy is kicking and screaming this game. So what happened here? Okay, he just stunned him. Okay, Stark.
Wow, was actually surprisingly close. No, okay, it wasn't.
𝗕𝗂𝗧 tried.
Nice try. Nice try. I like that. Please, 𝗕𝗂𝗧, you're playing Grace. Your time is over. Give the gold over to 𝗬𝗲, please.
Yeah, it is true. That said, he is actually dominating the jungle matchup in terms of stats and gold at the moment.
Now he is.
Now he is. Yeah, he wasn't when it mattered, unfortunately.
Yeah. He got all of the CS, and now it looks great in terms of the CS advantage, but that didn't happen in the actual parts where the jungler still takes CS for Flash. Now he has given all his camps over to his solo laners, and okay, another start on the Baron, no vision whatsoever. And they can trade this for soul if they want to. 10 seconds to the soul. I would like this call. Just trade it for soul and go for team fights.
Yeah, that's a very good idea as the dragon is spawning, but they're not going to do it. There's a teleport already coming in for Star. Not answered yet by 𝗧𝗲𝗺. Now it is. He's coming straight into the pit. This is only one call.
Oh, no.
There is an Infernum ult. The Lantern out, but he brought the Nautilus ult with him. Oh no, Buffalo, you've scuffed this so badly. What are you doing? Froggy's going to go down to Slater on the top side. Hin's going to go down to Stark. And Jesus Christ, someone put the tent up. We've got a bloody clown fiesta.
What was that? 𝗧𝗲𝗺 had flash. He could have flashed into the backline instead. Oh, man. That was one of the weirdest decisions I've ever seen from a cannon. A level 17 cannon in the Baron pit.
Sorry, do continue. I'm just providing a backing track. I'm just a backing track. Make your point, but
𝗧𝗲𝗺 has good weapons to defend here. If 𝗧𝗲𝗺 stays alive,
but I think this is game. They've only got to get through one Nexus tower. They're on to the Nexus, and with this one, 𝗧𝗲𝗺 dives in for the last stand. But it will be a last fall, and it will be Flash bouncing back, and in a weird, interesting game, emphasis on the int. Flash take game 1.
What was that? Oh, I'm so lost. The Baron play. What the actual?
So, Vinny, welcome back, by the way. What happened? Can you help? We were casting. You got to actually pay attention and take it slow. What just happened?
I think we lost all right to shit talk NA. I think that's what happened. Oh my god, that was terrible.
Oh my.
From Buffalo. They did. I don't. Hin and 𝗧𝗲𝗺, honestly.
They tried so hard.
They tried so hard, but holy. What the fuck?
So, how much can we take away? Were Flash were better that game?
Yeah.
I don't know how much they were good.
They should have still lost this game, in my opinion.
Yeah. So we have to pick an MVP. Just before we go too far down the rabbit hole. Yeah, for Flash.
Flash Froggy.
I mean, it's probably Ego, right? For the steals.
Yeah. Ego or 𝗬𝗂𝗺. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those two. I'll let you guys pick. I'm happy with either of those two.
I think Ego is fair because he got all the smites down.
Yeah, I think that was really important in the early game. All right, so Ego, we'll lock that in for MVP. And I've got to go try and wash some of this clown makeup off. Maybe see if I can get a red nose. We'll be back in about 5 minutes. See you then, guys. Don't go anywhere.
What a game.
What a game.
who it is. Come and run again. We wanna dose of this. Right now it's KDA. I'm a goddess with a blaze. 소리처럼 내 이름 잊지 못하게. Loud, 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 loud. I could take you to the top. 절대 멈추지 못해. 내가 끝내주는 bag, yeah, yeah, yeah. And when I start to talk that, oh, you know how to react. I'm a picture perfect face with that wild in my veins. You can hear it in my glow, 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 glow. So keep your eyes on me now. 무엇을 보든 좋아할 거야. 다 할 수 없는 래퍼. 나와 되길 원한 늘 확신해. We got it all in our hands now. So can you handle what we're all about? We're so tough. Let's get it, show you out. Can you feel the rush now? Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down. They could try, but we gonna wear the crown. You could go another round, 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 round. Wish you luck, but you're not bringing us down. We go hard till we get it, we go hard. We so in it, we pop stars. Only winning, winning now. Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down. You ready for this?
Let's go.
See, 언제든지 내 모습 매직 단 한 번에 내가 잡아 절대 기죽지 않지. 펴펴 네가 뭘 알아. 견딜 수 없어 원해도 원하는 게 얼굴에 보여. I'm trouble and you running it. I'm so cold. When I move that way, you gon' be so blown. I'm the realest in the game. Said I'm on fire with the blade. You're about to hear my name ringing in your head like whoa. So keep your eyes on me now. 무엇을 보든 좋아할 거야. We so tough. Let's get it, show you out. Can you feel the rush now? Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down,
G'day, boys. We're back. We've got another draft. We've got Flash up 1-0. Buffalo out for revenge. Break it down.
Flash won a game.
Flash did win a game. It's a Christmas miracle, and apparently they really don't like ego struggle.
I mean, yeah, he had a good game. He got MVP, so...
Still running with the strat of not banning ADCs, by the way. They're just going to match power for power.
So Kalista first pick happened in the first game. Will we see Kalista for style? Or will they trade that for... Syndra is banned, Varus is open, Ezreal, Aphelios, who knows? Yeah, it's very hard to tell.
Varus went completely untouched last game, which was weird, so I would expect it. There we go.
There it is.
We're actually seeing it this time.
Yeah, I feel like 𝗬𝗲 is more of the Varus team than Flash. It's really not Slater's playstyle. Slater wants to auto-attack, so the strongest iteration of Varus right now is lethality, so really not something Slater wants to do. Pantheon prioritized. Interesting one.
Interesting.
What is going on?
Italy. Okay.
We're early game now. We wanted to see early game, so...
The early Pantheon priority, that does allow 𝗏𝗏 to just take something like a, what's it called, a Galio away.
Yeah, I'd love a Galio pick. Ooh, they go Meliodas' Lee Sin.
Time for Meliodas.
I'd love a Galio lock here. I think that's the best pick here.
Yeah, if you can turn
Galio.
If you can turn Meliodas into a 𝗏𝗏 delivery system, I think that's the best. That's the best option to go for here.
To be fair to Meliodas, he actually has improved his Lee Sin quite a lot. His Lee Sin was fine in spring, so probably better than his Graves, because his Graves last game was very bad. Let's hope for something better. This might be our flex pick Nautilus as well. This might still be mid lane Nautilus. I'm not ready to call this support Nautilus yet.
It could be, but it's also a very nice pick against the Kalista, because you can just point and click.
That's true. Yep.
And Kalista can't hop away from the depth charge, because yeah.
So the nice Kalista Nautilus for Flash, right? So
it also does that, yes.
Flash is banned already, so the good Kalista combinations are dwindling away. It's you can go Alistar, but into Nautilus, do you want to do that? Set is banned already. Leona, I guess, could be an option, but you can ban Leona here, so I would like to see a little bit of support ban priority for 𝗬𝗏 to force a very strange support matchup. Instead, it's
Alright, Kalista Yuumi, let's go.
Oh no.
That is a horrible mental image, because you don't have to imagine any spooky shadow things. That's just Kalista grabbing a cat like a football and just get in there, kitty.
Yeah.
Can you actually grab your cat from yourself? Like if she's attached to you?
Question.
I'm not sure.
Question science.
It's not going to happen. So.
Also, guys, this could be Pantheon bot, by the way. It could be Pantheon bot.
Actually, could be. Yeah, 𝗏𝗏 is infamous for his Pantheon support. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's mostly a thing with Senna or with Taliyah, but it might happen. Might.
We see the Galio.
Galio banned for Buffalo. Okay.
I like
still taking it away from 𝗏𝗏 makes sense.
It sort of means, Lord 𝗏𝗏, you're going on this Pantheon, and we're comfortable with that. None of your shenanigans.
I actually think Galio is not that great for Flash's composition though, so not sure about this ban. They need a little bit more damage in my opinion in the mid lane. All their damage falls off in the late game. I would like a mage, a consistent damage threat from mid lane. For Flash, they have last pick here. And they open up top lane to be counter pick.
There's your extra damage for the late game.
Yeah, but there's...
𝗏𝗏? I don't know. No.
𝗧𝗲𝗺 could go something pretty whack here to counter the Ornn. Do we see the Akali?
𝗬𝗏. It's 𝗬𝗏 time. No, it's
𝗬𝗏. 𝗬𝗏 would have been so good.
That is the least interesting pick possible in this game, I feel.
We've seen so much 𝗬𝗃 into on, but 𝗬𝗃 really doesn't fit the VCS style, to be fair. But it's very good into dive, and they have so much dive on flash side. So I actually feel like 𝗬𝗃 would have been great.
Good pick.
We go back to 𝗕𝗂𝗵 mid.
Final pick.
That's
oh yeah, we were talking about that in the break.
Semi-blind pick, and it could be. It also could be a non-support. It could be a.
It's got to be Pantheon. It's got to be Pantheon. If this Lucian gets locked in, well, it's even more obvious if it's Orianna. Oh, okay, never mind.
Oh, could be bad.
I'm gonna wait for the lock-in. I'm not getting back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay.
And
So
there
it's
is
going to
Pantheon.
be a Pantheon.
I like that.
Or an one.
Yeah, I think it's definitely Pantheon.
Thinking it's
I think you
Pantheon.
definitely put. Yeah, Stark plays a lot of Ornn.
Yeah.
I definitely think.
And on support is super useless. You never get level 13, so please don't.
Oh yeah, fair. I still remember the glory days of release on support, so
Yeah, it's not the case anymore.
where you didn't have to worry about level gates and things like
Yeah.
that.
But I feel like the on is so off theme here for Flash. they have so much early game power, and then they pick on Orianna in the last rotation. That is so weird. They have a strange composition.
It does sort of try and give them a bit of an insurance policy, as I said.
Yeah.
So to keep it there, so they do have options for that late game, but it's very. But yeah, then you look at Saigon's side, and it's a very, very simple team fighting comp with 𝗵𝗏𝗏𝗧 on the Lee to get sort of looking for picks in the early game and able to provide a little bit of utility in the late game with that Dragon Bridge kick. Like, and again, you can always see what we saw last game, and just not everything goes wrong from the word go. And oh no, I don't want another game like that.
But both compositions. I feel like Saigon Buffalo's composition is more cohesive. It does the same thing. It has a theme. But Flash's composition has a lot of strong champions. I'm not quite sure which composition I favor. I'd say if Saigon Buffalo can execute on their 2-item team fights, 2-item power spikes, 1.5 items even, then I would favor them. But in the ultra late game, I might actually go back to Flash, because it's very hard for 𝗁 to do anything against Ornn in the late game. So
Okay, but
can be
you'll
better.
arrest that point for just a moment. As I see a Summoner's Rift, which means we need Vinny's last words and a prediction.
All right, so it is going to be a lethal tempo 𝗁, which means they can do something against Ornn in the late game, which means Saigon Buffalo have pretty much got a very strong draft advantage if they don't get blown out immediately.
All right, thank you for your prediction. Now, Yulwei, do you like the fact that he's gone lethal tempo? Because I don't. I think if you're going to pick 𝗁, it's for the poke.
Yeah, it's a strange one. Style has played this twice now, so it was expected, I guess. I still feel like the poke 𝗁 could have worked wonders with this composition as well. Think of all the synergies. We have hard engage on 𝗁 and Hin, and then Froggy follows up with his ultimate, gets a big AoE stun into 𝗁, landing all his Qs. That sounds like a very nice teamfight wombo combo even. So yeah, I mean, he can still ultimate on the attack speed 𝗁 as well. I agree with Vinny's, though, that it's better against Stark, especially in the late game. Attack speed 𝗁 for sure can deal better with tanks. Can he deal with Kalista in lane, though? That's the question here.
That is going to be a rough one to answer.
That's so satisfying. Did you see that?
Yeah,
and
triple
all 3
with the
lasted. That's a good start.
Yeah, absolutely delicious. We can't step up to get the rest of the CS, unfortunately. There is way too much pressure from the hidden Palette. This is not a fun
very dangerous level 1. I feel like it gets better with time. Once Hin is tanky enough to to counter engage on Palette, it should be fine in this lane. But early on, the Hail of Blades, the Ignite Pantheon with Conqueror, and a lot of burst early on is super scary. So yeah, I think the early few levels will be a little bit of a pain for Style and Hin, but later on with Exhaust and Heal should be fine.
Speaking of which, there's the level 2. A bit of an engage did come out of Palette. No serious damage though. Hin did manage to mitigate what he needed to. So is this bot lane the most important matchup? It probably is. It's the most volatile, at least.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, double Lee Sin on the map. I want to follow 𝗏𝗏. He had a very rough game in game 1, but now he has the roam. She can roam. Of course, the Nico is able to go to top lane maybe and dive Stark here and there.
But he's okay. Never mind.
And also want to see if 𝗏𝗲 is able to punish Stark in laning phase. This matchup we've seen so much of, and most of the time it's Aatrox winning a lane, especially early on. It can go to Ornn if Ornn plays it perfectly, and Aatrox misses a lot of his Qs, or Ornn dodges those. But also considering player strength and game 1, I feel like 𝗏𝗲 should win this one and get a solid CS advantage to scale into 2 items where Aatrox is his strongest.
Ooh. Ego lurking around the bot lane. Might want to make something happen. Of course, very easy to land a spear as follow-up to the Pantheon. But he could also just go steal some Krugs.
So many spears in the bot lane.
There really is. Jesus, this is a proper phalanx.
It's triple spear from Flash. What a combination. I love it. But the main wave is coming back, so Ego is will probably lose his gank threat here. Luckily, the camp respawns, so his time is not completely wasted. He can steal this one away. And where's Lee Sin right now? He's topside. Top lane is pushed in. The only thing you can really look for is a dive, so Lee Sin can't really punish this very long extended period of pressure in the bot lane for Ego. I'm not even sure if 𝗬𝗏𝗺𝗺 spotted him once, so they might be completely oblivious to the fact they were in Italy.
They are blissfully unaware of how close they were to being ganked, but it doesn't matter as he doesn't pull the trigger, just backs off. 𝗏𝗲 pushing in the wave in the top side. He's going to have pretty much perma priority, so if they do want to go for a Rift Herald play, he should be able to come help out pretty easily.
Stark very low in mana. He has gone cookie, so at least he gets some of that back. But still struggling to stay in lane here against 𝗏𝗲. Of course, no resources for Aatrox, so he can just perma push and use his abilities to apply all of the AoE effects. Stark is still staying relatively healthy in lane, so he should just be able to collect farm, and that's his main goal here anyway. Can 𝗏𝗲 do anything with this advantage?
𝗏𝗏 being a bit cheeky, stealing away the popcorn chicken, actually convinced Ego that the whole camp was gone. Interesting. Didn't see that the icon on the map would have still been there. Or maybe he just didn't want to fight for it. Hard to know. But regardless, he skips the Raptor camp.
Yeah, he forced Ego into bot side jungle again, so 𝗬𝗏𝗺𝗺 should know where Ego is right now. Yeah, there was the question mark ping on Ego, exactly on his head, so they know for sure where he is. 𝗬𝗏𝗺𝗺 is 1 level down. So can he do anything about this? There's a little bit of mid priority for Saigon. It's actually very neutral there. But in terms of early impact, I feel like 𝗏𝗏 is stronger in the level 6 fight. Level 1 Orianna R doesn't really deal any damage.
Hin thudded the hook straight into a minion. Gives up all the pressure. And that's probably... I thought it was going to be Dragon, but they're going for a Death Bush instead. Is anyone going to get caught by this?
Hin needs to be careful.
The potential patsy.
And now Meliodas
Dragon. Yeah, this is smart. It's spotted. Ego was potentially looking at the shop or something there. Meliodas finds a way out, jumps to that ward. Now we've got a proper bit of a dragon dance. 𝗏𝗏𝗺 can just give this up. I wouldn't blame them considering the early power. Yeah, this is just going over to Flash.
Meliodas is trying to go for
no, it's not. Melly wants this. There's a teleport. He's got a Q. Where will the smite go? And it goes to Meliodas. And a big Nico ult from 𝗏𝗏𝗺. The Ornhorn is good as well. The first kill has gone over to Flash. There's a lot of knockouts being done here by Stark. He's going big. 𝗏𝗲 on the backside, but the front side's all going the way of Flash. This is not great. Style has to try and deal some damage. And now 𝗏𝗲 is 1v3. Triple kill for 𝗏𝗏𝗺 popping off. And it's all going Flash's way. The Saigon Buffalo have been eviscerated. 𝗏𝗲 wants to try and zoop over the wall. I don't know if he's going to be able to. Oh, he can, but look at all those spears. He's going to get rendered and taken down by 𝗏𝗏𝗺. The Buffalo have been culled. And it's Ooh, Froggy, he's coming in. He's actually on full health, of course. That is a fake health bar. Hin found 𝗧𝗲, and it's round 2. Ding, ding, ding. And here we go. 𝗬𝗂𝗵, he's been caught by the resonating strike. In goes 𝗦𝗶𝗺𝗺, kicks him to death. And I lost track of what that was a what for. Was it 5 for 4? Was there kills
Everyone
before?
died. It doesn't matter. Everyone died. And it's not over yet. It's not over yet. Ego. Okay, another one.
Oh, good God. I was catching my breath and Ego gets taken down.
Yeah, it's a 5 for 5 in kills, and we actually get away with 𝗬𝗲𝗵 in a gold lead and 1 dragon ahead. So even though it looked like everything went Flash's way, in the end, 𝗬𝗲𝗵 with a good punish. Second teleport coming in clutch there from Froggy.
In terms of raw gold, come out ahead, actually, because they got the dragon.
Indeed.
The gold went to better places for Flash, though. That's a very big thing. 2 kills for Hin compared to 3 kills for 𝗧𝗲. I know what side of that I want to be on.
Yeah, that's true. But also 2 kills for 𝗧𝗲, who played this fight once again perfectly. And Stark, Hin, you're taking the turn.
Yeah, Hin is in trouble. He goes gold, though. Resets the turret. That's 650 gold. Flushed down the pooper. And a Rift Herald for Flash. What is going on? What is going on?
They gave over the free Rift Herald now for the top side. They wanted to go for the dive, but Stark with Flash and very tanky stats. Hard to dive, but 𝗧𝗲, can he get away? Yes, he can.
He's gone.
So this should now be the first big advantage for Flash, because they can use the Rift Herald for the first turret and top side.
Again, I just want to apologize. Just want to apologize for our TriCaster here. He does have a sore foot, which means he is part of the cast, because I need to keep an eye on him. But he's a treasured member of the crew.
He is indeed. He has a lot of fans.
He's the only one that's been approved by LEC casters. We haven't.
So let's look at how the gold has played out. It's still a slight advantage for 𝗬𝗲𝗵, but of course, standing gold to be collected with the Rift Herald. They kind of squandered their time in top lane. Ego had the opportunity to use the Rift Herald immediately. Might still be able to do it, though, because there was no reset for 𝗬𝗲𝗵, interestingly enough. I think they could have defended this one here. Instead, they are choosing to give up the top lane turret altogether, because there's the Rift Herald, of course. So 𝗧𝗲 just there to catch a little bit of experience, but he has to back off. And there's only going to be 1 plating in return. So overall, gold positive trade for Flash, all coming from the fumble dive on the side of 𝗬𝗲𝗵.
Yep, absolutely. And there is that tower. 𝗧𝗲 getting even more gold. He is fearsome. And 𝗧𝗲 has massively overstayed here as he's getting 1v3. He pops the ult to try and get something done, but it is absolutely nothing.
And another kill over to 𝗧𝗲, who's now looking very scary. Second game in 𝗪𝗪. Is he finally back in form? Number 2 on my top 10 list. He's finally showing us why. 𝗧𝗲 looking super strong in the first 2 games and is set up by his team. So the team has definitely recognized the main carry again. And now suddenly a 2k gold lead at 11 minutes again.
Well, this is a game. This is a completed Blade of the Ruined King, and we don't even have the bailout for 𝗲𝗏 of him going the cheap lethality build. He is matching the 𝗪𝗪sta item for item, and he is very far behind.
Yeah, indeed. It's a very bad situation for 𝗲𝗏. He can still provide a lot of utility, of course, with his ultimate, with the heal reduction built into his kit, so he doesn't actually have to go for Executioner's Calling that early into 𝗪𝗪sta healing a lot, so still quite useful. And you also have to take into consideration that Flash has some scaling concerns when it comes to bot lane. Of course, they have some secure insurance policies in top and mid lane, but
here we go. Ornhorn being blown. They want this one. The 𝗲𝗏 ult was pretty good, but Hin can't get away, and Stark claims that one. Style is very low, and there's a lot of Flash members here. They're not going to get onto him, but it is all going Flash's way right now. They're 2,000 gold up.
Very clean. So far, the plays they're looking for are executed very well, and this game. Froggy.
Can't find anything, but gets a very good tangle barb. Can they follow it up into anything? 𝗧𝗲𝗺 has a flank. Dragon going low. They're just going to turn onto 𝗧𝗲𝗺. He flashes away, pops the wings, gets a couple good cues. He's going to blow them up, and 𝗕𝗂𝗺 has the E to buy some time. They trade the 1-for-1, and on the other side, 𝗬𝗂𝗺 has found style. He'll pay for it with his life, or will he? He won't, as everything misses. And oh no, the Buffalo have been caught on the wrong side of the tracks. And Froggy, you're going to have to pull a miracle, and starting off by missing your E is not gonna do it.
It's going from bad to worse for Buffalo. They are losing every single fight, and Slater is getting stronger and stronger. 𝗧𝗲𝗺 trying his best there. Another teleport. They don't want to concede anything. Hin, what are you doing? We're 1v3.
Oh my god, this is insane. 𝗧𝗲𝗺's here. They want to try and pick up at least one, but he's mistimed the Q. Doesn't get ego and uses those Nikes to get over the dragon wall, but doesn't get a kill. And
it's looking desperate. It's looking really desperate from their side.
Normally we only get one act from 𝗬𝗃𝗃, and I thought that was the first game. But we really have 2 acts of this circus right now. Oh.
To be fair to Flash, this is not quite as clown fiestery from their side. I definitely agree with you that Tiger Buffalo is playing very strangely today and going for a lot of plays they shouldn't go for, which makes it a little bit clown fiestery, but Flash definitely capitalizing on all the mistakes and looking strong in team fights, which was one of our main concerns coming into today. 6, 1, and 4 for Slater.
Yep. Oh boy. How do you stop this 𝗧𝗲𝗺 now? How do you stop the snowball? You need a flamethrower to get rid of this snow, and I don't think
you probably need Froggy to land a miracle ultimate on her, because that shuts her movement down, right? And then 𝗧𝗲𝗺 can follow up with a lot of damage. He still deals a fair amount of damage, so I feel like that's the main way you want to deal with this 𝗧𝗲𝗺. But it's not going to be easy. Slater, no Flash right now, so maybe there's an opportunity in the next few minutes to capitalize, get the shutdown on maybe Style or Froggy to get your carries a little bit more gold. But it's already looking very grim, because Tiger Buffalo is relying on a 2-item spike composition. They have a very strong mid-game team fighting composition that will fall off later with Aatrox, with Nico, Lee Sin, all not being the greatest late-game champions when it comes to consistent damage threats. So they need to accelerate their gold. They can actually even consider just taking fights and getting kills and trading kills, because they're behind right now, and they need to accelerate their item build. So giving up gold is not as bad as it is to not get gold. 𝗏𝗏𝗺 is still posturing aggressively.
Oh, has been caught by the Lee Sin Q, but they're not going to pull the trigger. They're just going to clear the wave. But there is a Rift Herald in the hands of Ego if they want this mid tower. Would open the map up for them.
Stark in full vision. We have a group going on for Flash, and they should be able to just get this turret for free. Of course, 𝗏𝗏𝗺 popped. Actually, don't like 𝗏𝗏𝗺 used here. I think they could have gotten the turret anyway. So can they they prevent the charge. That's good. So now that you have full life Shirley, of course, to get the second turret. Can they get another one? No minion wave. Fair enough. Still got the charge on the second turret, so that's what they wanted to achieve here. It's very low, and if you break both mid lane turrets, Pantheon can go wherever he wants. Ego can follow wherever he wants, and Lee Sin can't play the game anymore. So it's all looking great for Flash. They just need to clean this game up, which is something they've struggled with from PCS against VCS onwards. So let's see how they can do it. Last game was basically gifted to them on the silver platter, or handed to them. So can they do it themselves? Can they play a game without relying on the opponents making severe mistakes on the late game?
We'll have to find out. Again, Flash's early game has been consistently good this split. That is not what we have been criticizing them for. We've been criticizing them for their mid and their late game, but I feel like mid and late game plays itself when Slater, your best player, your franchise player, is 6, 1, and 4 on 𝗏𝗧𝗺. This 𝗏𝗧𝗺 is unstoppable.
She's so strong. She's 1 item ahead of her counterpart Style, even though she's almost 20 CS down. Of course, 6 kills help. So yeah, it's this to stop this.
Wow, Style.
Yeah, I mean,
Rakan saw the ult and wasn't happy.
He was really upset with style there. So I feel like you actually have to kind of play around 𝗂𝗧𝗧 and not try to focus her and get all the other kills. Maybe try to play out of range of 𝗂𝗧𝗧 because she's so hard to kill with all her mobility, with all her lifesteal, heal and flash available too. Flash now backup. Yeah, it was on cooldown for a second there. So can you catch Kati maybe or Stark or Ego? Then they might be able to claw it back a little bit, but I feel like if you fight around Slater, that's exactly what Flash wants. They have so much protection, they have so much setup and front line for Slater, and he's 6-1-4, so that's exactly where Flash wants to go.
And they're just pushing down this lane, and it doesn't look like Buffalo have an answer. They're not trading it for anything. They might get that top lane outer. I'm not sure how much health it's on. No, it's on nearly full health. They won't get anything. They just lose 2 towers, and they're just bleeding. Someone call an ambulance.
Oh, can they
Party's in some trouble? They should. There's a big shutdown. At the very least, they do get something
Perfect
back.
timing for the dragon. But 2 important ultimates gone. So can they even win this fight 5v4 here?
They need 𝗧𝗲𝗺's teleport is a few seconds away, so it's actually just a 4v4 at the moment. There it is. Ego will get the Drake. Ornhorn was good, and they just have to disengage. So despite the pick, Flash get the objective.
So a little bit of gold induced for Froggy at least, so he gets a little bit closer to a 2nd or 3rd item. But it's still overall a net win for Flash. They get another turret in bot lane and another dragon heading towards Seoul, and they don't really have to worry too much about getting outscaled because they still have Ornn and Orianna on their side. Enemy team isn't the greatest scaling ever either, so here we go, Flash on a solid position.
Can I ask you something?
Please, go ahead.
We've now seen about 20 minutes of this game. He's gone this on-hit lethal tempo Varus. Why didn't he just go Aphelios? It was open.
That's a very fair question.
If you're not going to go lethality Varus, why not just go Aphelios?
So this is basically about drafting, right? Because the Varus offers a little bit more flexibility in draft. The enemy team doesn't know what mode you're going to play on your Varus. That's one of his main strengths, because he has 2 viable modes, or some people would argue the second one isn't quite viable, but let's say it's viable. So it's very hard for the enemy team to see what your team is going to do, because lethality Varus and attack speed Varus are basically 2 different champions, right? They play very differently in team fights. They have very different power spikes depending on items. So it's very valuable on draft. But then if you decide to go lethality Varus, you are indeed just a little bit of a worse Aphelios. I agree with you on that. So now you would like to change the Varus for the Aphelios after the draft gave you all the flexibility through Varus having 2 modes.
Yeah, I suppose. I still think it...
He looks ugly in this game, of course, but he also fell behind quite a lot. So he's in no means even to the enemy ADC, which definitely exacerbates the issue.
Yeah, absolutely. So Baron has been started up. It goes down very quickly here for Flash. Are the Buffalo going to respond in time? It doesn't look like it. There's no pings. 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀 has just left base, and this is going to be a free Baron buff. And Flash, well, we don't really have to consider their decision-making, because at the moment, they don't have to make decisions. It's, do we want to take everything? Yeah.
They came to that decision, so that's an improvement, I suppose. The only concern there is for Flash right now is that Stark is only level 12, so not quite on his power spike. I don't think it's going to matter, though, because Baron is here. They have Orianna to zone. That worked wonders last game, where Orianna just placed a wall behind the turret and said, yep, if you want to step up, if you want to defend this turret, I'm just going to ult you, and my super strong 𝗂𝗧𝗧 is just going to burst you down. So please try. So I really like this combination of 𝗂𝗧𝗧 Orianna we have seen from Flash, because they know how to execute the zoning control into 𝗂𝗧𝗧, actually utilizing her short range and still being able to threaten, even though usually she gets outranged and it's hard for her to siege.
Yeah. So let's talk a bit about ways Buffalo can get back into this one. Who are the focal points? How can they actually get back in here? Because it's only a 4K gold lead. I say only, that's pretty significant. But not the worst. Not the worst we've seen in the VCS. We have seen bigger leads and we've seen bigger throws. So how do the Buffalo sort of, tickle their hand so they drop the ball.
From the word go, I've talked about the 2-item power spike for Saigon Buffalo in this composition, and look at their items, 2 items for everyone done. So right now their champions are strong. Compared to Flash champs, maybe not quite as strong, but they're still inherently, they have the items they need. 𝗧𝗲𝗺 is on 2 items, those are the 2 important items. Styles on 2 items. Oh, he gets chunked quite a bit, so now this fight might not be feasible for the side of Saigon Buffalo. Can he heal up? He's working on his HP.
Imagine if he could be. Oh no! Oh no!
Oh,
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! As 𝗕𝗂𝗀𝗀𝗺 now knocked up, 𝗁𝗃's got a double. 𝗧𝗏𝗺 is just walked through the towers, and oh no!
Wow, we're concerned about the closing for Flash, but seems like Saigon Buffalo really does not want to continue playing because they are handing everything to them. What was that? There was an Orianna ball. You have Flash, please. You have to Flash that ultimate.
Style is definitely showing off. I mean, a style. It's not a very good one. I think they can definitely block this style.
Oh man. What is going on? Why is he not flashing away from those ultimates? There was no other CC. He was just slowed.
It's ridiculous.
The animation is so obvious. Please, just flash that.
It's not hard. Oh.
Yeah.
And
it's quite easy to flash that ultimate. It's hard to play around it without flash. Yeah, it's not going to matter too much, in my opinion. Soul Point Boom. Actually, yeah. Soul doesn't really change much. They already have so much damage, so I feel like Soul doesn't. Of course, Soul does a lot. Don't get me wrong. It's a very strong Soul, but it doesn't really change anything in the game because they are already so far ahead. They don't actually need extra damage. I feel like in this situation, you would like Mountain Soul because then you can't. Even if you misplay horribly with Mountain Soul, you could not lose any team fight. So I feel like Soul. It's of course nice to have, but they shouldn't focus too much about the Soul. They should go for the next inhibitor. Yeah, they don't really need Baron in my opinion. They have so much poke. We saw that in the last engagement or poke fight around the base. You just utilize your poke, utilize your zoning on 𝗁𝗃, just threaten with the ultimate and the ball, and wait for the super minion waves to crash so you can actually just utilize map pressure to get the 3rd inhibitor. I don't feel you have to rely on Baron in this situation. 2 inhibitors is a very, very strong point to play around as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And they are sieging onto the final tower. Buffalo, you've got to fight. Come on, last-ditch saloon. Don't just roll over and die. That's a sad thing to watch. But I don't give them too much of a chance. As that tower breaks, and it looks like they will, if they do have a final fight, it'll be under the Nexus towers as the 6th player joins the game. Double super minion waves are available.
𝗧𝗲𝗺 has been constantly behind play. He has been struggling to get to his team in time, and now we have the final engage.
Oh, and they're trying. Froggy goes in, gets a decent ult, but 𝗬𝗧𝗺 is still hopping around. He goes gold. A fair bit of damage has been dealt, but it doesn't matter as the back half of this fight is all flash all the time. 𝗧𝗲𝗺 will be caught by the Orianna ball. He tries desperately, but can't find anything. And the Buffalo are wiped out. The Nexus towers will be falling momentarily.
What a stomp!
And with this, it will be Flash taking a 2-0 series over the Buffalo, a prediction very few were able to make. And goddamn, I'm not doing well in predictions.
Why do we even bother at this point? Who can predict anything in the VCS? It's so impossible. Flash looking so lost last week and suddenly clapping Saigon Buffaloes who looked incredible earlier this week in 2 games back to back. They are here to play. The champions are back, 1 and 2. Still a negative win rate, of course, but they definitely showed something here. And Ego coming in as potentially now the starting jungler for this team.
Yeah, we'll have to find out. So, Vinny, what's your impression? What did you think of that one?
I'm thinking Style does not know how to play against control mages. Because even his positioning in the last game, it kind of got overshadowed by Froggy's sort of running it down. But yeah, even in the last game and in this game, he did not seem to know how to play around the Orianna ball and the sort of zone control that these that she provides. And 𝗧𝗲𝗺, what was that top play? You saw there's a Pantheon in Italy. I think she had 3 kills there. That 𝗧𝗲𝗺, and you're like,
I don't think
all right,
that
they're gonna take my tower and leave. Definitely, there is no way I die if I stand right in front of them.
It's a classic.
I think 𝗧𝗲𝗺 overall had a decent game though. I don't think 𝗧𝗲𝗺 was the problem.
I think he had a pretty shocking game. Besides that one play around the dragon with the re-entry teleport.
Yeah,
I think that was his only good play that game.
But overall,
the rest of it was just him making terrible decisions, like being late to a lot of things, just not doing anything. A lot of it blew open with that failed dive on Stark and that extra kill he gives over, because once the tower falls, adds to that.
Fair enough.
And that is the thing he never should be giving over.
Yeah, that's a very fair point. Yeah, Saigon Buffalo overall, I think as a team looked quite shocking. They seem to be very day dependent or form dependent. So they seem to show up very differently on each day. So I have no idea what to make of them. I thought they would 2-0 Stormflash today. I thought they were looking incredible against %, and suddenly they fall 0-2 instead.
Nothing makes sense. Nothing makes
sense. So we have to pick an MVP for game 2.
I think that's not hard.
𝗧𝗲𝗺, right?
𝗬𝗂𝗺 or 𝗧𝗲𝗺?
I think 𝗧𝗲𝗺 for game 2.
I think 𝗧𝗲𝗺 wins the game.
Yeah.
Pretty hard carried.
I think so.
Yeah, his 𝗬𝗺 was
big shout out to 𝗬𝗂𝗺 as well. His late game ball positioning was incredible. He played the Orianna well. I want to see more Orianna. She's low-key OP. I think Orianna is undervalued in the VCS. It's good to see her finally come in and punish all the ADCs for not knowing how to play against her.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the player of the series, 𝗬𝗂𝗺 will be getting that one. That's a pretty easy call. He was fantastic in both games. Was an MVP contender in both of them, that didn't actually get either of them, but definitely the player of the series, in my opinion. And I hope you guys agree. Yeah. So,
disgusting.
With that, Flash have put a series win on the board. They've bounced back and looked very good in that one. And we'll be back for our match of the week in just a little bit, guys. Don't tune out. You will be wanting to watch this one. Trust us. Cerberus versus 𝗧𝗲𝗺. I mean, I predicted Cerberus, and apparently I'm the English Pelu, because I can't get anything right, and that must mean 𝗧𝗲𝗺 is going to win. But it is our match of the week. We'll be back in not too long to talk about it and to break it down. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll see you soon.